Check.
Good evening. Thank you all for joining us today for our first council meeting for the month of April. If you do not have an agenda packet for tonight's meeting, there may still be some in the foyer, but there is a QR code on the door of the rotunda where you can scan and follow along on your electronic device. We will have the opening prayer today led by Pastor Peter Vermeulen. How much did I mess it up? Okay, Pastor Peter Vermeulen of Christ United Methodist Church, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be given by Michael Doe and Nisha Parajapati from the Houston County High School NTHS. So if everyone would please stand while Pastor starts us off in prayer.
My name is Peter Vermeulen, and this is a southern accent from South Africa. I want to thank all the servicemen and police and other personnel for serving. Mayor, I enjoyed your speech at the NAACP when you were just re-elected, and I enjoyed it, especially when you did it to that beautiful hymn, and you used it as your outline. I am Southern by the grace of God, but I am an American by choice. I've been American since 1997. One of the reasons I like to do these things is because I am an American and I have enjoyed the privileges of being an American. And I'd like to give back a little bit to civil community service whenever I can, just to say thank you for all the opportunity this beautiful country has given me with education, finances, a beautiful wife, a beautiful church, and beautiful people like you. And I am so grateful that I get to bring you before the throne of God. Let us pray. Dear God, I love you with all my heart and soul. And so for these people, I ask that you give them the heart of David. Teach them to be courageous and have their hearts burn like a lion. Teach them to be, like Thomas, doubt those things that don't sound correct, and how them to test them. Give them a heart like Timothy, quiet, wise, a heart that is easy to work with. Give them wisdom like Paul, so that the choices they make for our community are wise and worthy. We ask that you bless our police and keep them safe. Give them hearts of love and courageous, and a deep joy of being those that bring justice to all. We thank you for our service people, yeah, that keep us safe and give us an opportunity not only to be able to have freedom of speech, but even more importantly, freedom after speech. Dear Lord, we ask that you also help us to remember that your grace and your love is greater than all the brokenness and hurt in our community. And your love and your grace is greater than all the brokenness in me and these beautiful people. In the name of the Father, the Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. We would like to thank Pastor Peter and also our two students from Houston County High for starting us off in a meeting today. We would like to do a picture with you here in the middle. Council, let's take our places. We'll start with the students first, and then we'll move to Pastor. I officially call today's meeting to order. I'll first start with an adoption of the agenda.
Mayor, I move that the agenda be adopted as presented.
And I second it, Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Holmes, seconded by Councilman Mack. All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Motion carries. Now on to announcements. I have some announcements to share with you all today. And these are some things to keep in mind as we celebrate the 250th anniversary / birthday of the United States. So this is our America 250 series for celebration. We have our Take Flight tour that's going to be coming up. And right now we have applications for businesses who want to participate in this experience. And those applications will be open on our website until April the 17th. So April the 17th, if you have a business who wants to participate in the Take Flight tour, showing, a flight of sliders, a flight of popcorn, cookies, cupcakes, drinks, whatever you can think about, please submit your application now until April the 17th. Next up is Hometown Heroes, celebrating Military Kids Food Truck Roundup. And that's taking place next week. Is next week the middle of April already? Didn't it just start yesterday? Yes. Sheesh. Wow. Okay. Next week, Thursday, April the 16th, from 6 to 9 p.m. at Perkins Field will be a celebration for military children as they support their parents, their families in military service. We want to make sure we celebrate those children. I am one of those children. So this is always a great time to paint our city purple for our military kids. Next Thursday, 6 to 9. And then we have the Spring Shred Day. That's going to take place next week as well on Friday, April the 17th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Happy Hour parking lot. Take all your old papers, you do your spring cleaning, the mail we keep in a corner that we never open, drop it off 9 to 1 next Friday. And the last thing to share this week is Parents' Night Out is taking place this Friday, April the 10th, from 6 to 10 at North Houston Sports Complex. This is our recreational facility on North Houston Road. The cost is $25 for city residents and $5 discount for any additional child. Pizza is provided during the parents' night out, 6 to 10. It's cheaper than any babysitter rate. Trust me, I've looked. So if you want a parents' night out, check it out. Friday, 6 to 10, North Houston Sports Complex. Thank you for sharing those announcements so I could share it to our community. Next up, we have proclamations, awards, and presentations. Today, we'll be doing 3 proclamations. The first one is for the month of the military child. Then we will have one for our 911 operators, National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. And the third is Community Development Week. If you are here to receive any of these proclamations once I begin reading, please come up to the middle so that I can read it to you and then present it to you with a photo at the conclusion. So first up is Month of Military Child. Anyone here to accept this proclamation, please move to the middle of the rotunda. Thank you. All right, so Month of the Military Child is April 2026. Whereas thousands of brave Georgians serve in the military and have taken the oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And whereas the children of these brave men and women make significant contributions to our schools and communities and the city of Warner Robins, despite prolonged and repeated absences of one or both parents. And whereas the Warner Robins military children are a source of pride and honor to us all, and it is fitting that we take time to recognize their contributions, celebrate their spirit, and let our men and women in uniform know that while they take care of us, we will take care of their children. And whereas there are uniformed foreign military members and their families stationed at Robins Air Force Base from roughly 19 countries. Their dedication to preserving peace and supporting the United States military missions, both abroad and here in the United States, is above reproach. Their children also live and play in our populace. They attend local schools, recreation facilities, and churches. We welcome them with open arms into our communities. And whereas the recognition of April as a month of the military child provides a special opportunity to pay tribute to military children for their commitment, their sacrifice, and their unconditional support of our troops. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by myself, on behalf of City Council and the citizens of our great city, do hereby proclaim this month as Month of the Military Child in Warner Robins, Georgia. I ask for the observance of this month by connecting with military children and families to provide support to all children affected by the deployment of parents and other caring adults in their lives. Let's give a great round of applause for the Month of the Military Child. All right, I'm not sure, did anyone have some words to share? If you were planning. Okay.
Hi, I'm Colonel Sherry Graham. I'm the Deputy Wing Commander at the 78th Air Base Wing at Robbins, and thank y'all so much for welcoming us into your city. Some of the things that Mayor Patrick talked about as being a military child herself, some of these kids from ages K through 12 will probably attend a minimum of 9 different schools. So they are full of resilience. They are in support of their families. They didn't sign up for this, but they serve too. And we certainly do thank all of y'all for supporting us, and we're happy to be here in support of y'all. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Colonel Graham, and she too has children who are serving with her. So let's get this photo. We're going to take the photo, and then I'm going to ask council if they want to join on the second photo, if that's okay. All right. All right, next up is a proclamation for National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. Do we have anyone here to accept this proclamation? Okay. All right, we will still read this in their absence as they serve our community. So the week of April the 12th through the 18th, 2026 is National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. And it goes, whereas emergencies that require police, fire, or emergency medical services can occur at any time, and once prompted, the response from police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who contact Houston County 911 Emergency Communications Center. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services and serve as a single vital link for police officers, firefighters, and paramedics by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them with information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators of the Houston County Communications Division have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. And now therefore be it proclaimed by myself on behalf of City Council and the citizens of our great city, the week of April the 12th through the 18th, 2026, as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in the city of Warner Robins. I ask all citizens to join me in honoring the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and citizens safe. Let's give a great round of applause for National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. All right. And finally, we have the proclamation for Community Development Week. Anyone here to accept this proclamation, please come forward. Okay, so Community Development Week is April the 6th through the 10th, 2026. And the proclamation goes, whereas the Community Development Block Grant, we call it the CDBG program, has operated since 1975 to provide local governments with the resources required to meet the needs of persons of low and moderate income. And the CDBG funds are used by thousands of neighborhood-based nonprofit organizations throughout the nation to address pressing neighborhood and human services needs. And whereas the Community Development Block Grant Program has had significant impact in our local economies through job creation and retention, physical redevelopment, and improved local tax bases. And whereas the City of Warner Robins Department of Community and Economic Development has clearly demonstrated the capacity to administer and customize the CDBG program to identify and resolve pressing local problems such as affordable housing, neighborhood and human service needs, job creation and retention, and physical redevelopment. And now therefore be it proclaimed by myself on behalf of City Council and the citizens of Warner Robins, Georgia. I do hereby proclaim the week of April the 6th through the 10th, 2026 as Community Development Week in the city of Warner Robins. And I urge all citizens to join us in recognizing the community development program and the importance it serves to our community. Let's give a great round of applause for Community Development Week. And we have our Director of Community we have our Director, Ms. Kate Hogan of the Department of Community and Economic Development for the City of Warner Robins here, also with Ms. Hyacinth, who manages there with her. Is it the CDBG program? Okay. She's one of our project managers over in CDB, in the department. Sorry, I'm saying a lot of words and they're all running together. But thank you all for all that you do inside of our community. All right. Now that we've completed our proclamations, we now move into the work session items, starting with the agenda for today. And also, we will have a portion talking about the Adopt-A-Box, a presentation from Ms. Kate Hogan from the Community and Economic Development Department. Mr. James Rinkard, he will start us off in the discussions of the current agenda.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to work our way through tonight's agenda and respond to questions that you may have. The two most involved items on tonight's agenda are two land use cases. So as become our custom, we'll address those up front to provide the most time possible. And I'll ask Darren Curtis, our Planning and Zoning Manager, to come forward and present on those two cases.
Thank you. All right. Any particular order? Just okay. The first item on the agenda for zoning action refers to a rezoning for a property totaling 309.4 acres. This property has frontage along Moody Road, but primarily shares frontage with the existing Woodlands subdivision development. Obviously a large tract of land adjoining the Woodlands, and the stated intent for the rezoning is in order to expand the existing Woodlands subdivision. If approved, obviously, this would likely include an access along Moody Road for this development. I will point out that the use of the property will remain the same if approved. It's currently limited to a single-family use. R3 does allow for a denser use of this property, but the developer has stated that it is intended for single-family detached use in conformance with the rest of the Woodland subdivision. Not a lot more for me to say about it. Happy to answer questions. Staff recommended approval for the request to rezone. The Planning Commission also recommended approval for this petition.
Mr. Curtis, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
That access from Moody is already there, correct? Has that already been established?
There is a improved driveway that is currently stubbed out on Moody Road. Whether that is the location of the eventual driveway for this development, that has not even been decided yet. So we would typically start to evaluate that once we have a formal submitted plan. And so the location of the driveway is going to, obviously, we're going to make sure it's in the safest place, and whether they can use what's already there or not, we're not sure at this time.
Mr. Curtis, one question. You stated that the staff has approved this as well as the committee. Who's the staff?
Well, to clarify, we have recommended approval of this petition, and as far as who the staff that recommend, I'm the staff that recommends on the staff report, but we also consult with other departments. Those would include the Community Economic Development Department, engineering. All of our city departments have an opportunity to provide input related to zoning action. So police, fire, all of the departments, utilities, all get to review this, and we compile this report based on any feedback we receive. And given that the Joint Comprehensive Plan refers to this property as a suburban residential area, and that the intended use of this property is residential, in conformity with the existing development, the recommendation was to approve.
Hey, Mr. Curtis, how you doing? I have two questions. One, how many plan to be in this development? And with that being said, on Moody Road, does it have to be a deceleration and acceleration coming in and out of that neighborhood?
So we do not currently have a formally submitted plan, and it's not uncommon for a developer to seek to rezone the site in order to commission design. We could run some very high-level, numbers to determine what potentially there could be, but topography and things like that, they all play a vital role in really figuring out how much of this property is usable. What I do know is that there's about 100 or so acres that are wetlands and won't be developed. So, a good third of this property is not going to see construction. Now, in terms of access and kind of circling back to what Councilman Bibb talked about, as far as the location and not only that, the configuration and design of an access, we will meet to discuss that with our consultant engineers. And we're going to take things into account, such as the number of proposed units, the speed limit, the overall existing volume of Moody Road, and so those things play factors into determining whether deceleration lanes, et cetera, are typically required. I will say that generally speaking, a project of this size, as the Woodlands already is, it's very, very unlikely that there would not be a requirement for a deceleration lane. Now, acceleration lane gets into a bit of a different category, and typically you don't see acceleration lanes except for certain types of intersections or industrial projects where you have large trucks that are exiting onto a roadway. So whether there's an acceleration lane, that's probably a different conversation, but certainly I would imagine a deceleration at minimum.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. We do have a representative here, party to petition, that's available to answer additional questions if you have them.
Did we have a proposed number of units going in that?
No, sir.
Just for clarification, this project is another phase of the Woodlands?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
The current covenants on the Woodlands will still apply. Is that correct?
So I would defer that question to the applicant, who again is present and able to answer questions if necessary.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the time to be here tonight. I'm Keith Newton, representing Alexis Investments, the owner of the property, 3528 Highway 41 North, Suite B, Byron, Georgia 31008. Our family has owned this land for over 23 years. Actually purchased it, believe it or not, from Governor Sonny Perdue and his sister many, many years ago. I'd like to echo a few things. One, I'm proud to be this project in Warner Robins is continuation of the Woodlands. And I would, I know most of you all been out there, but I would encourage you to come out and look. Everything that's in Warner Robins is R3 in the city of Warner Robins. We worked many years working with the county and the city when we first came into the city. It was a little challenging, but we got there. Moody Road was widened years ago. Houston County came to our family and they set up the access point. So that's where it's going to be. And this is a county road. The county would dictate. Part of this is the county has to review this project. It was part of a more memorandum of understanding many years ago. So this Houston County will review the plans as well as Warner Robins. Currently, we have a preliminary layout. We submitted to Warner Robins earlier. Nothing's changing. The access point will be where Houston County dictated where we would have it. And Houston County will dictate accel, decel. It's their road, and our engineers will work with the city engineers in determining all that. And I'd like to echo that your staff, being police, fire, utilities, everybody reviewed, recommended approval, unanimously approved through planning and zoning. We're not changing anything, but I will encourage you to look at, right now currently we're about $185 to $186 per square foot. I would put our development up against any development in Middle Georgia as far as the square foot price, and that is by far the most important thing you want to look at, the quality of the product being presented. We have about 100 acres of wetlands. We have a major transmission line. We have some design challenges, and we're going to work around those. That's just part of it. But we look forward to working with Warner Robins just like our family has in this city for over 50 years.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Newton? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Newton.
All right. The next zoning action refers to a rezoning petition involving 8.75 acres located along the east side of Highway 41, and that is a neighboring vacant parcel just to the west of the Rose Hill subdivision. The current zoning of the property is R1, as is the Rose Hill subdivision. And the proposed zoning is a planned development extraordinary district. And just a quick refresh on what that means substantially for the city is that it is unlike other zoning categories in that it requires the developer to submit a conceptual site plan. To that end, the city reviews that site plan, and it would basically consider that on the merit of its design. Having said that, this proposed development includes 39 two-story units. Those are attached in a condominium-style arrangement. This would also include a commercial component. They've shown two undefined amenity areas on the site. And as the Rose Hill subdivision, in fact, it's Rose Hill Drive, dead ends into the boundary of this property. The conceptual site plan shows a roadway configuration where the road is continued along to 41, but is given a locked gate with a Knox box for first responders. I do think it's important to point out that this was a requirement that city staff required of the designer. This was not possible except for the fact it is a proposed planned development district. So in any other zoning category, that's not something that we can require. So obviously that's been the point of a lot of the discussion surrounding this petition, so I want to just make sure I point that out. Otherwise, it is also within a suburban residential character area, and the proposed uses of this site do not introduce anything that is generally uncharacteristic of the area as a residential use, and as far as a commercial use. A little bit of context on that, though, is the overall layout has, obviously left staff with some areas of concern. With the way it's laid out, we felt it would be more appropriate to have the commercial component of this property located alongside the neighboring commercial property to the north, which is a daycare facility. And we've also, in terms of the recommendation, because of it doesn't propose any new uses of the property that are out of character for the area. We opted not to issue a formal recommendation on the staff level. This did go before the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission voted 3-2 to recommend approval, with the stipulation that the commercial component be limited in its use to office space rather than the climate-controlled self-storage as they proposed, and the other stipulation being that the street that I mentioned, having access from Highway 41 and extending to Rose Hill Drive, remain a private road, not public right-of-way. Again, that is sort of essential to any access being cut off. The idea that accessibility from 41 would sort of create a cut through, that was the origin of that requirement. So, again, happy to answer questions. I know this is a lot of nuance with this particular design, but happy to discuss it. And we do have a representative present from the petitioner.
Mr. Curtis, could you tell me the current zoning for the Rose Hill subdivision?
It's R1. I will mention Carlton Ridge, which is the adjoining subdivision directly to the south, is R3.
All right. And so if it was to maintain, say if it was R3 or R2 even, do we have any idea how many homes could be built on that 8 acres?
Again, I can run some general numbers on that. So if that were the case, then we would expect to see public right-of-way versus a private road. Obviously, adding public right-of-way, takes away from lot sizes. Because this is private, we've seen a little bit of minimization of that space that it occupies. Particularly the row of units that align the backside of this property closest to Rose Hill subdivision are accessible via an alley, which is really kind of a single lane. It's not a, so if we were to include public right-of-way, that would detract. And so it probably boils down to the design. But, generally speaking, at R1, which requires 14,000 square foot per unit, we could run a quick calculation, but, yeah.
Mr. Curtis.
Yes, sir.
I'm sitting here thinking about one statement you just made. The road would be, excuse my interpretation of that, but the road would be similar to an alleyway. Now, before you respond, I'm still living with something we did. And I'm very, very reluctant about this. I don't want to be guilty. I wasn't guilty the last time. I voted against it. But anyway, I'm not going to be guilty this time either. I need clarification. Is it going to be a road? What about entrance to the present neighborhood or the existing neighborhood?
So the units are arranged in such a way that the backyards of some units are bordered by the backyards of another unit. So in other words, you've got opposite facing units. And for the units whose backyards, for the units located in the backyard of the other units, those units are only accessible via an alleyway, which goes along the backside of this property. The thing probably to mention about it is, again, that this would all be private, meaning the developer or HOA that they have to set up would retain ownership. All of those alleys would be part of that ownership, so they would own that.
You may want to explain that an alley is a road type defined by width, et cetera, and then the other concern is the ability to access the existing neighborhood.
That's right. Okay. So, and as Mr. Drinkard pointed out, I think it's a good clarification too that when we say alley, we're talking about the road's width. It's not so. Generally speaking, for public right-of-way, you're expecting 50 to 60 feet of overall width, and that's in order for the city to be able to run utilities under it and things like that. This would be more of a single lane, probably not striped, just single-lane access road for the purpose of the residents who live in the units that are accessible via the alleyway. Just along the back side of the property, that's right. So the Rose Hill Drive situation, again, because this is a planned development district, is being shown to have a locked gate with a Knox box. That's for our first responders to access. That's not for the general public. It's also not for maintenance companies to get in to do any kind of work. So outside of first responders, the only access to this site would be from Highway 41. Having said that, that's not a requirement that staff can place on this development, except for the fact that it is proposed to be a planned development, which gives us the control to be able to do that. Beyond that, in any other zoning category, we would expect that because the road, Rose Hill Drive, dead ends directly into this property line, the developer could legally pick that up and continue the road to 41, provided that Georgia Department of Transportation issues a driveway permit.
You just, at the end, you just answered the question that's running through my mind. Will the city be required or need to put a road in?
No, sir.
I want to be sure you said no to that.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Curtis, I have a few questions. The access with the gate and the number code, who all is going to have that code? Is every one of these people that buy these townhomes going to have access to that code? And are all these people that are going to rent in this storage unit going to have access to that code and that street right there?
So my understanding is that the Knox box is more of a proprietary key versus a code. And that key should only be provided, again, to first responders. And no one from general public, whether it's even the developer themselves, would have access to that.
Thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate that. And I just want to say this alleyway, so when you say it's going to be a single alleyway on the back side of this whole drawing right here, it's only going to have access for one car?
The actual width of this alleyway is not shown. I'm basing that comment on the way it appears to be shown on this. It says that it is a proposed 22-foot paved alley, which is private. It doesn't show any particular striping, though, so conceivably at 22 feet you probably could get two cars, but saying that just to say it's not. So with the public right-of-way, obviously you typically see your center line and all of that. This has obviously because of the sidewalk throughout this, there is a crosswalk at the intersections, and there appears to be traffic markings at the intersection in terms of which way, stay right, stay left, that sort of thing. But that is the only place that's shown.
Mr. I may have missed it, but just clarify for me before I can get a clearer understanding for the storage unit that's on this parcel. Would that be restricted to the people that are in these units or for the open public?
So it was stated at the Planning Commission meeting that it would be for the general public. However, again, just to reemphasize that the Planning Commission recommended approval. It was a split vote, 3-2, but they recommended approval with the stipulation that be limited to office space, not climate-controlled self-storage.
It says that on here. It says climate controls.
Correct. That was their
Storage.
proposal, and then the recommendation was that be restricted to office space only. So any motion that would approve this request should account for those if that's council's intent.
So I'm not knocking you, I'm just saying what we've been looking at since Friday is incorrect.
It's not incorrect. I mean, that's still their proposal. And we've issued a recommendation based on what we believe would be a better
Okay.
alternative. So that's still their proposal. And so that's why we would ask that if you agree with that stipulation, that you place that as part of your motion, if that's what you decide to do.
I just want to,
Question, I'm sorry. If I presented something to you and it didn't seem to fit the mold, and you make a recommendation, how did it get up here to us to vote on it?
Exactly.
So, Councilman, staff's role on applications for rezonings and land use is to provide an evaluation of the application and give to you a recommendation. Staff does not have the ability to tell an applicant, you cannot bring that forward in this fashion. We will not, bring it forward. We can tell them that staff's recommendation will be a recommendation for denial or a recommendation for approval with certain conditions, et cetera. But we cannot tell them they cannot bring an application forward. So the applicant came forward to Planning Commission. Planning Commission is a recommending body. So just like staff, they cannot say you cannot carry it forward in a manner that you so choose. So Planning Commission made the recommendation that it be approved with the condition that the commercial space be limited to office use only, and that climate-controlled storage not be allowed. And that is how it's being brought forward tonight, with that recommendation. However, that recommendation does not change what the applicant has requested or is applying for.
So I think to Councilman Holmes' point, if no one had asked that question, we would not have known about that suggestion that was made, because what it says here.
No, sir. It's actually in the staff report.
It isn't? Okay,
And
good,
Mr.
good.
Curtis did bring that up in his comments at the beginning.
I just wanted to echo what Mr. Drinkard said, that Planning and Zoning Commission is a recommending body, and they make recommendations to the governing authority, which is you gentlemen and Madam Mayor. And ultimately, you gentlemen and Madam Mayor make the binding, and in most cases, though not all, final decision regarding land use in the city limits of Warner Robins. I would just say and ask for clarity of future action, which may or may not occur, that any stipulation you wish to have run with the land, which is effectively what your motion will do if it is passed by majority vote, be clear and explicit. Now, Planning and Zoning has made a recommendation for a stipulation that the commercial use be limited to office space and not storage space, but there's also been some conversation regarding locating the commercial space adjacent to the daycare. If that were something you wish to do, you could also add that stipulation. Any stipulation which is reasonably related to the use of the land can be added by you gentlemen and Madam Mayor, and I would just ask that if you choose to make any stipulations, we just make sure it's explicit and clear so there won't be any confusion.
Could I piggyback off that? Just because of the nature of a planned development, which requires a conceptual plan, I would say that if there are stipulations outside of things that, in other words, if there's a stipulation that requires a change in the layout, that may be something we want to consider for more of a tabling, so that way the developer can actually show that on a drawing, and we can review that again, rather than stipulating an idea of something, you know. So
I have a question about the Knox box and the gate. That would be a barrier for this new development to access the Rose Hill subdivision. I heard you say that by law, the developer can connect to the Rose Hill street as an access point as long as GDOT allows the development access from 41, which they can't have it if they don't have access to 41. So the ability to access Rose Hill is inevitable. That will happen. Now, the gate and the Knox box, is there any protection that would make it mandatory that that gate stay in place, the Knox box stay in place, never is moved or left open or broken. And that would be a concern I have when it comes to this gate.
So I did speak to some of the residents who stood in opposition at Rose Hill subdivision. Effectively, my first impression of that is that as it would remain private property, all of it, and either the owner, developer at the time, or the HOA would retain ownership of the property, including the gate. It may be something that we would opt to collect more of a surety on that on the front end, to say that they should go ahead and establish an HOA so that we can review its language and ensure that they maintain the gate in perpetuity. That would be a suggestion. It's really, in my opinion, as private property, it's an unlikely scenario that the gate, I mean, obviously anything could happen. Someone could run through it with a vehicle or et cetera, but generally speaking, the property owner or the HOA would be sort of liable and responsible for its maintenance.
Well,
Thank
sir,
you.
Since it's private property, will the city be responsible to maintain
No, sir.
the roads?
Anything else for Mr. Curtis?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor and council, thank you for working with us through that. I know that those land use items can get a little lengthy and they're fairly involved, so I appreciate your patience as we work through that. As we look at other items on the agenda, our consent agenda is fairly lengthy tonight. Obviously, we had the meeting minutes of the March 16 meeting. We have a commercial services agreement with Cox Communications for internet services for the City Hall complex. As part of that, we are actually increasing our connections from a 1 gigabyte connection to a 10 gigabyte connection. That's reflective of the transition that we see with respect to software and more cloud-based solutions becoming the norm. Obviously, those cloud-based connections and solutions require a faster pipe. So that is a $26,040 annual agreement. We have excess cyber insurance policy renewal. The city does maintain a standard cyber insurance policy through the Georgia Interlocal Risk Management Agency. That is a $250,000 policy, which is their standard cyber insurance policy. But then we also have a $1 million policy that we have traditionally maintained on top of that. And that is the renewal that's being considered tonight. That is a $36,140 expense, which is the same as it has been for the current fiscal year. Up next, we have an annual unit price contract with Bumper to Bumper at a value of estimated value of $16,160.17. That's based on previous year's purchases. This is for provision of fuel, air, oil, and coolant filters for our vehicle fleet, so pretty standard. I will note this is not the low-price vendor. The low-price vendor came in at about $1,700 cheaper. However, this vendor is local, and the low-price vendor is not, and so we do have a preference for local vendors within certain pricing ranges. Up next, an amendment, second amendment to Task Order 3 with Ardura. That's one of our engineering firms that works in our utility side. This is a $72,500 engagement. It's for the relocation, installation, and maintenance of 3 flow monitors at selected locations on the city's sewer system, the collection and analysis of the data over a 6-month period. This is something you have to do these data collections and analysis, and this is something that Ardura has performed for us for a number of years. Up next, Paulk Landscaping, contract for $39,000. This is for annual watering of about 148 trees scattered throughout the city. These were funded through our Trees Across Georgia grant. As a reminder, we did receive a grant, a 4-year grant, $750,900. We're currently in year 3 of that grant. The watering of these trees allows those roots to establish in areas where we don't have irrigation systems. So once we get through that, then the trees will be okay. Up next, Xylem Water Solutions at a cost of $25,559.30. This is for the replacement of a 15 horsepower pump that is necessary for operation of our lift station out at Veterans High. Xylem is the sole licensed dealer and servicer for these pumps in Georgia, so it is a sole source. We then have several purchasing items, the first being our monthly charges for associated systems. This is for our AS400 system, which is our existing system that we're moving away from, but we do have to maintain it while we continue the implementation of our Tyler system. That is a purchase at $15,851.25 for services rendered. We then have 2 items with Gallagher Risk Management. These are 2 separate items. The first relates to our workers' compensation insurance for calendar year 2025. Each year, there's an audit that has to be performed. We start the year with an estimate of what our projected total payroll for the city for the year will be. The end of the year, there's an audit, and if there's a difference between the initial projected amount and the audited amount, we either have to pay if our payroll is higher, or we get a refund if not. So for 2025, the total premium ended up being a little higher, came to a total of $171,161. So this item is for $31,691, which is what we would owe due to that delta. Excuse me, I got that backwards. I skipped. That is for 2024. Gallagher was late in doing the audit and providing the report, so they just got us the 2024 numbers. So the numbers I just gave you are 2024 numbers. For 2025, the amount owed is only $15,997. So it's 2 items, and I just gave them to you in reverse just to see if you were paying attention. It's the only reason I did that. Up next, Central Square. This is a primary software utilized by our police department. It is the annual software license and maintenance agreement, $170,503.10. The software covers about 75 platforms used by our police department, including our computer-aided dispatch, booking software, and reporting software. It is a cornerstone of how police departments operate now. It is the same software used by other law enforcement agencies throughout Houston County, which helps us with interoperability and coordination. Finally, in purchasing, we have GIS WebTech. This is, again, a software maintenance and licensing agreement at $11,741.34. This software is used by our Community and Economic Development Department as they work with various business interests that are considering location in Warner Robins. They use this software to help them identify potential locations. And generally, they're running about 30 to 40 location assistance projects a year. They also use this platform for other research. Finally, we'll move into new business. The first 2 items you've already been discussing, which are the 2 rezoning cases. The first one, Alexis Investments, and the second, Alamo Opportunity Fund. So we'll skip through that. Up next, an opioid antagonistic training and administration policy. Say that a few times fast. Narcan is basically what we're talking about. We talked about this at the last meeting in work session. We are required under OCGA 31-2A-20 to maintain at least 3 doses of Narcan in all qualified city buildings and provide training for employees in how to use that and have an adopted policy. This is the policy that will bring us into compliance. Also discussed as a workshop item a couple of meetings back is the Lifeguard Retention Incentive Program. This is a proposed $500 incentive to be paid at the end of the lifeguard season. Under this policy, the lifeguards would have to work a minimum of 25 hours per week from Memorial Day weekend through Labor Day weekend and not miss more than 3 scheduled shifts during that period. It would be paid out after the final paycheck is issued for the season. And this is in response to the problems we've had in recruiting and retaining lifeguards for the past few years. It's been a struggle, which has impacted the hours that we can keep our pools open. Finally, we have a right-of-way abandonment request. This is for about 0.16 acres of right-of-way along C. Josette Way. The utility companies have reviewed this and have all signed off. The city will need to maintain a utility easement in this area, but the request is being made by the sole property owner in that area because it allows them to unify their site for development purposes. Mayor and Council, that is all of the items on tonight's agenda. Are there any questions that I can answer for you or that other staff members can assist with?
Yeah.
Councilman.
Thank you, Mr. Drinker. The one thing I did want to ask a question on the one for Polk Landscaping. I understand it is not an area that we have actual irrigation that runs to yet, but have we looked at or have we considered a bit or a estimate for running irrigation through that area?
It would be quite costly.
I know it would be. Yeah, I just want to know if we.
So
Yeah.
This is not an uncommon practice in areas like this, and there's areas scattered throughout the city, and you'll find that list in your staff report. But typically, if for these types of trees, if we provide this type of, for lack of a better term, hand watering for a period of time, usually the first year or two, the root system's established, and then they are quite capable of surviving on their own.
Correct. I also would like to also comment, just not in relation to that, but how quick those trees got planted.
Oh, on Russell?
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
I went out of town for a week, came back, I was like, look at all the trees.
Yeah.
That was amazing. They look beautiful too.
Big improvement over that old fence.
Yes, very nice.
Yeah, I'm not sure all departments that were involved in the tree planting, but I do want to say thank you to Keep Warner Robins Beautiful and Community Economic Development Department and our Public Works, because those are the ones I saw planting the trees. I don't know about others, so if there are others, please be sure to state it, because I don't want to leave. Okay, the list is complete.
Yeah.
So thank you.
I will point out that the idea to take that fence down and put trees in its place, the request came in from a couple of members of council to take the fence down, but there was concerns about traffic going into Russell Parkway from some of the cross streets. The idea to use trees in that area to both beautify and address the safety concern actually came from our Public Works Director, Craig Clifton. That's not the type of thing that I think people expect to hear from Craig. You know, they think of him as the tough guy, but he is in fact a tree hugger. He's now dodging behind people to hide. I'll pay for that later, I know.
I will say that too. Y'all took it to a whole nother level, and I appreciate that. The concern was the ugly fence that has been there for years, that all of us had stared at for a while, and the ugly post over there, and there was no sense of that not being beautified in a whole way. And they did take it to everybody involved took it to a whole nother level, And for years to come, we're going to look over there and see the great minds and hard work that went into beautifying that area. And I hope that's one of many areas in the city of Warner Robins that we continue to do that to.
Definitely. Speaking of beautification, if there are no other questions relative to tonight's agenda, Ms. Stella? Sure, we can call that out. So council members, I sent this to you in email, but for general notification to the public. During the last council meeting, there was discussion of a concessions contract for our Recreation Parks Department. That item was tabled. Subsequent to that, the recommended vendor withdrew their bid. And as a result of that, and as a result of the remaining bids and the condition of those, that item now has to be rebid. So we will be issuing a new bid, new RFP for concessions at our recreation facilities.
With that being said, what's the method of the bidding process, and where can people that would like to bid go bid on those concessions, just for clarity for the public?
Sure. As always, all of our bids are put out through our Ion Wave system, so those are available via the city website. We also do publish, depending on the nature of the bid and what we're requesting, we'll push that out to other resources. Vendors also have the opportunity to register on Ion Wave. I want to make sure we get this out there. Vendors can go ahead, whether there's an active bid on something they're interested in or not, they can register on our Ion Wave system. All they have to do is go to the purchasing page of our website, and they'll see a registration link there, and they can select the types of bids that they may be interested in, and then they will get direct notification of those bids. So there's a number of ways. We also will, for some of the bids, some of the larger bids, we also will publish those on other sites, push it out through ads, things like that.
So you said something very interesting there, so I want a little clarity behind that. You said because the person pulled out.
Correct.
And then you said due to the other bidders that were there.
Correct.
Those people were eliminated at that point?
So we had two other bids come in on that. One, which was the third ranked vendor, the prices were too high. They were way out of market for Warner Robins. They were way out of market from the community I was in before.
You said that was the third person,
That was the third one. The number two vendor did not provide a response that was reflective of all parts of the bid or the RFP. So we do have to go back out.
I got another question now. You said the third person was way out of price. Well, where was the first person at if they won the bid?
They were within, I don't understand the question. They offered pricing.
Well, you said the third person was way out on their bid.
Correct.
You categorized them as the last person.
The pricing was too high from the third vendor. That's why they rated third. The next vendor had decent pricing, but they did not include all of the facilities that were part of the bid package. And then we had the recommended vendor that had good pricing and were covering all of the facilities. Thank you. Yeah. Sorry, it took me a second to figure out what you were asking. I apologize. All right. If there are no further questions, going back to beautification, I'm going to ask Ms. Kate Hogan to come forward from our Community and Economic Development Program. She's going to talk with you a moment about our Adopt a Box program. We've been getting a lot of really good feedback on that program. Ms. Hyacinth will be part of that as well. This is one of the projects she's been coordinating. And I believe they have some of the artists here tonight as well. Kate?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to circle back with you on this project that came before you in July of last year. We are very honored to provide you guys with a update on phase 1 of our boxes this evening. So as a quick overview, our Adopt a Box program is a public art initiative really aimed to beautify those traffic signal boxes at each individual intersection. They are family-friendly arts contributed by local artists, and we are also funding this project through grants and sponsorships. We are currently completed with phase 1 as far as we have published the design guidelines for the call for artists. We have applied for numerous grants in order to present this project with strong funding sources. And we have also had a committee that has been meeting, choosing our artists, making sure that they do meet the standards set out in our design guidelines. And we are, again, happy to show you guys kind of how we have managed to work through the process and actually delivered on that promise of 8 traffic boxes completed. So our first artist is Miss Callie Collins. And if you will, Callie, join us up here. Callie has 2 boxes, Pollinators of Georgia and also Aquatic Life of Georgia. She is a Georgia born and is making art since her first art class here in here in Houston County at Perry Primary. Art has always been a way that she expresses herself, and she tries to incorporate in every aspect of her life. Her friends and family have always supported her art, no matter how big or small, and it's what encourages her to keep on creating and striving to improve. You can check out her boxes at Davis Drive and Thomas Boulevard, and Davis Drive and Moody Road. And Jeremy, we'll get one picture of all the artists together at the end. Our next artist is Akeem Roberts. Akeem is a husband, father, artist, and therapist whose work explores themes of personal growth, resilience, and self-reflection. Drawing from both creative expression and his understanding of human experience, his artwork often uses symbolism to highlight the quiet processes of healing and transformation. Through his work, Roberts aims to encourage deeper thought, challenging limiting labels, and creating moments of connection that invite viewers to reflect on their own journeys. His box is located along Green Street at Davis Drive. We also have Miss Kathy Compton. She has been painting since her retirement in 2021 and enjoys painting wildlife, landscapes around Middle Georgia. Her box is located at Davis Drive and Ignaco Drive. Ashley E. Johnson is a visual storyteller. Ashley's work brings energy, culture, and meaning into everyday spaces. Ashley believes art should meet people where they are, on the streets, at corners, and in motion, sparking reflection and pride in the community. Ashley's box is located at Davis Drive and MLK Boulevard. We also have Marian McLemore. She is a mixed media artist who creates vibrant florals and whimsical birds with a touch of sentimentality that brings a little more joy, hope, and nostalgia into everyday life. Her boxes are located at Davis Drive and Tabor Drive, and Davis Drive and Scott Boulevard / Wall Street. And then Kamari couldn't be with us this evening, but she was born and raised in Warner Robins area and is an emerging talent. She draws inspiration from cartoons and urban influences. Through the use of paint and creativity, she hopes to spread joy and smiles all over the world. And her box is located at Russell Parkway and Davis Drive. I just want to thank Mayor and Council so much for believing in the vision that was presented back in July. This is such an easy way to help our art community, but then also create beautification in everyday spaces. So thank you guys again, and I invite you to come down and take a picture with our artists. And Councilman Bibb did stop me and wanted me to make a point of clarification. This is just phase 1 of our boxes, and so we aim to continue to implement this project strategically while using funding sources outside of our general fund. So we have a new grant that we should hear back about in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully we will be implementing phase 2, so stay tuned.
Can't tell you how many comments that I've received out in the community and also on my job of people noticing that. And also noticing Russell Parkway, flooded with comments from the citizens of Warner Robins about the attention that we're putting to the city. And that means a lot to all of us. I know one of the biggest things when we started this administration was the beautification of our city and public works and all that was going on. And I want the citizens of Warner Robins to know that we hear you and we're paying attention and we're right there with you in beautifying the city of Warner Robins. And it looks absolutely gorgeous.
It's our pleasure. Mayor Patrick wanted me to make a clarification. This was 8 out of 50 total boxes throughout the city, and we aim to implement art as many of them we can.
All right. Work session is now complete, and we'll move on to our second agenda item, which is formal public comments pertaining to items that are on our numbered agenda. If anyone is here who has a comment about agenda item 3 through 8 only, this is your time to speak. There will be another opportunity once the agenda concludes for general public comments. Again, if you have a comment, concern, question about any agenda item, items 3 through 8, you will have an opportunity to approach the podium. Be sure to state your name and address for the record. You will have 3 minutes on the clock, which is timed at the top of that rotunda. Please note that council and I are listening to you, though we may not respond to you. So the floor is now open if you have a comment about a specific agenda item, and be sure to mention that item before you begin speaking. Thank you.
Okay, ready. My name is Heather Hensley, 117 Clarissa Drive. Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of the residents of the Rose Hill subdivision regarding the proposed development at the end of Rose Hill and Rosewater Drive, agenda item number 5. This land was originally zoned R1 for single-family homes with low density. The current proposal for multifamily units next to established single-family neighborhoods does not align with the original intent. City Code calls for development to be compatible with surrounding areas. As proposed, attached housing units with an office complex does not align with the character of the neighborhoods it attaches to and moves away from the purpose of zoning, which is to protect the integrity of the area and help manage density. Beyond that, we're concerned about the impact on our zone schools. Based on the most recent CCRPI reports on the Godot website, each of the campuses are already serving large student populations. Over the past decade, our area has added multiple high-density developments with the construction of the Pines at Westdale in 2018, Tupelo Ridge in 2019, and the Flats at Lakeview in 2025, each one bringing additional strain. At some point, we do have to acknowledge the cumulative impact on students, teachers, and resources. If the development process is to move forward, our focus is on protecting the safety of our neighborhood. The current plan includes an emergency access gate with a Knox box connecting the new development to Rose Hill and Rosewater Drive. While it is described as emergency access, systems like this often allow broader use over time. That raises important questions: who controls the access? Who determines how and when codes or entry permissions are shared? How is that monitored, and what safeguards are in place to prevent misuse? If that access is used beyond true emergencies, whether for maintenance, deliveries, or convenience, it effectively turns our neighborhood into a pass-through. And once that door is opened, it's very difficult to close. What recourse would residents have if that happens? Who enforces it, and how consistently? There's also a long-term concern. What prevents the gate from eventually being removed or permanently opened, creating a direct cut-through from Highway 41? With traffic already backing up near the roundabout, it's not hard to imagine drivers looking for alternate routes, our neighborhood becoming one of them. This is where families live, kids ride bikes, play outside, and neighbors walk the streets every day. Increased traffic, especially cut-through traffic, changes that environment and puts people at risk. If this development is going to move forward, we are asking for a clear and simple solution. Maintain the first plan of a cul-de-sac at the end of Rose Hill Drive with no access connecting the new development to our neighborhood. We also ask that a dedicated entrance from Highway 41 be established before construction begins so construction traffic does not come through our neighborhood streets as it has done for the past several months. At the end of the day, this comes down to a simple perspective. If this were your neighborhood, would you feel comfortable knowing the only thing preventing it from becoming a U.S. highway cut-through is a gate? We're not just thinking about the value of property, but about the value of safety, children, and preserving the neighborhood people chose to live in, and we respectfully ask that you consider these concerns and help protect the integrity, character, and safety of our area.
Thank you, Ms. Hensley.
Madam Mayor, on behalf of the owner of this property, the applicant, I felt it might be best to at least come and present our side of this. My name is Rob Fricks. My office is at 466 South Houston Lake Road in Warner Robins, Georgia, and I represent the owner of this property. The property was presented, like she said a moment ago, the citizen comment, that this was originally going to be a cul-de-sac area, that there was going to be no connect through to Rose Hill. The city, through the Planning and Zoning Department, told us that we needed to change that plan and make that plan where there was the Knox box, okay? There's a daycare to the north, R3 to the south, Rose Hill. If we were to make this an R3 neighborhood, okay, it would have to connect to the existing Rose Hill Drive, which would become the cut-through. That's our understanding. If it was an R1, the same thing. It would have to connect. If it comes off of the road there, off of 41, it would then become, again, a cut-through. The only way that this is not a cut-through is to do it either the way that the city suggested or the way that we proposed this originally, which was planned development extraordinary. The good thing about this zoning is that it enables the planning and zoning and the city to control what goes out there. As an accommodation to the city and as part of us proceeding in this process, we chose, and with the help of planning and zoning, to say, okay, we're not going to do any sort of commercial storage unit. Rather, they suggested that we do small offices or a small office arrangement, which is what we move forward and what we submitted going forward. It was our understanding that when this council heard today, what they were going to hear was the planning and zoning vote that said, yes, we approve this with these conditions, and we're honoring those conditions 100%. We're talking about 39 units. If this was converted to a straight R3, which we feel would be certainly a viable alternative, there would be probably 75 units there, which would add more. This particular use is the highest and best use for this property while allowing the county to retain control, or the city to maintain control over what we can put out there. Because under this special PDE, we have to submit it with the plans, and the council and planning and zoning has to approve it at each phase. You retain much more control over it this way. We've heard about the road or the access way, the alleyway. This is not really an alleyway. What this is this is a private road, 22 feet in width, that then has a 30-foot buffer. So what you're doing is you're giving, in essence, a 50-foot buffer or 52-foot buffer between the back neighborhood and the property, where it starts. Whereas if we were doing this as an R3 or an R1, you would have a 25-foot setback.
Thank you, Attorney Fricks.
Okay, so
We appreciate it.
my time is up. So, okay. I did really talk that long?
It just goes
I wasn't even
fast.
trying to lawyer talk either.
Yeah, I know. But we do appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Will there be any others?
Hello, I'm Richard Chamberlain from Lake Point Subdivision. This is about Agenda Item 4, rezoning of Moody Road. We have some questions and concerns. I was here March 10th, and it was brought up that it was going to be single-family dwellings, detached, four-sided brick. I want that, confirmed. Also, we'd like to have it amended where we have the buffer of the tree line that is currently there, about 30 feet. And also, we're really disappointed there was no site plan, no street layouts, nothing said about how much traffic is out there. I live out there. There's a lot of traffic out there. There's a hill right there that makes it pretty dangerous too. And I've seen there's at least 2 cutouts for entrances into that property. So that's a concern with me. Then again, is how much traffic, because the hills and such out there, and the curves, because people go pretty fast out there. Darn, I have one more thing. Oh, good. What was never answered was how many homes and what size the lots are going to be. And there again, I would think that would be in the site plan, or the site plan. So also, the marshland there, the wetlands, is that free-flowing water, or is that just going to be stagnant water? From what I've seen in Woodlands before, back in there, it's all kind of fenced in a lot of areas that I saw, and it just looks stagnant to me. And if it's annexed in the city, it's going to be your problem when mosquitoes get going real good. So I believe that's about all I have. Anything else? All right, one other person. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chamberlain.
Hello, I'm Kima Poole. I live in Country Estates, 117 Country Lane, Kathleen, Georgia. Country Estates is 75 acres, and we have 17 homes. And we did get him to say it'd be single family. This is on item 4, I'm sorry, motion 4. That it would be single family detached units, but it's still going to be R3. And I'm not quite sure, I can't remember what R3 is, but it could be up to 2,000 homes. And that's much bigger than what the Woodlands is now. We have no plan. There's no plan. We have not seen how many units. So I would like to ask that it be tabled until something's presented, because once it goes to you, we don't see it anymore. The other question is, there's a power plant that's just been put in near Country Estates, and there's a power line that runs. I know y'all can't see this. but there's just a strip of trees on Moody Road that if they cut those down to put homes on, then there'll be the power line, then it'll just be a wide opening. Where if they left that buffer of trees and built behind the power line, they may lose a few houses, but I think it would be, you can cut a tree down on Moody Road, and the people on Moody, where their houses are, can hear more. We had a neighbor in our neighborhood that cut down the wood line, and then everybody in our neighborhood can hear the traffic so much more. So if you had that buffer of trees, it would be much more aesthetic and also better for road noise. So that would just be my suggestion. But again, I can't quite understand y'all approving any motion that you do not have the number of units, the way it's laid out, if there's going to be a tree buffer. All of these are questions that are very important for our city and our county. And I just would like to ask y'all to look at that before y'all approve this. I would like it tabled.
Thank you, Ms. Poole. Would there be any others?
Hello, Keith Newton again, Alexis Investments. I'd like to clarify a few things. One, most importantly, I love being in Warner Robins. I love helping to build and grow Warner Robins, this city. And like I said, our family has been here over 50 years. We've owned the land for 23 years, and we are just continuing the Woodlands is all we're doing. There's no planted buffer on the other side of 5-lane Moody Road. Moody Road is not busy. I'm out there every single day. We we were chosen by St. Jude to have 5 St. Jude homes, giveaway homes. I don't know of another development in the state of Georgia that was selected 5 years in a row. I'm very proud of the development we have done in the city. Every time we start a development, we have plans submitted to the city of Warner Robins. Your staff will review these plans. The county will review these plans. And we'll continue on just like we're doing. Local developer and local builders. Square foot price is by far the most important thing. And I'll tell you, our square foot price is higher than any other development in our area on the average. And we love being in Warner Robins again. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Mr. Newton.
I can't help you with that.
I know that. I know that. If we draw it back up. Let's just switch the plans as suggested. Mayor Patrick, I'm going to help your evening be a little bit shorter, okay? And I'm not going to lawyer talk, but we're going to withdraw number 5 right now. That's okay.
All right. Right now, Mr. Attorney Fricks has the floor. Mr. Fricks, you can continue.
I'm certainly happy to answer any questions, but at this point, based upon the fact that maybe some suggestions need to be made, otherwise it probably makes the best sense for us as the owners and me representing the owner to withdraw number 5 at this time.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Can we do that? Is that?
Yes, I think as the representative of the applicant, if you're withdrawing the item, there would be nothing for mayor and council to consider at this juncture.
Okay, that's what we're doing. Thank you, Madam Mize.
Thank you, Attorney Fricks. All right. Will there be any other comments about numbered agenda items? Going once, Going twice. The door is now closed. All right. We now need to amend our agenda. So I will propose a motion to amend the agenda, removing item number 5 at the request of the representative of the applicant.
Mayor, I move to adopt to amend the agenda to remove item number 5 at the request of the representative of the property.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Lawrenson, seconded by Councilman Bibb. Any discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. All right, now starting with agenda item 3, which is the consent agenda to be discussed by Councilman Curtis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Being that nobody had any questions when Mr. Drinker went over the consent agenda, I make a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
A second.
Motion by Councilman Curtis, seconded by Councilman Holmes. Any discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 4 is a motion for rezoning petition to be discussed by Councilman Lawrenson.
Thank you, Mayor. I motion to approve a rezoning request from Alexis Investment LLC of property, including all right-of-ways totaling 309.4 acres, located along the east side of Moody Road, situated across Moody Road from the Country Estate subdivision, also known as tax parcel 0W1330089000, from R2 Single Family Residential to R3 General Residential District.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Lawrenson, seconded by Councilman Bibb. Any discussion? And the motion before us is for rezoning only. For rezoning petitions, we do not require the details of what the development will include, but our team will be the ones who have to work with that and make sure everything is acceptable for this development. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Opposers, the same. Okay. Motion carries. Item number 6, as amended, is a motion for opioid training to be discussed by Councilman Mack.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the opioid antagonist training and administration policy in order to comply with the requirements of the official code of Georgia, annotated section 31-2A-20. This policy ensures that all qualified government buildings and the courthouse maintain a supply of at least 3 unit doses of opioid antagonists, and that such supply is readily available and accessible during regular business hours as well as outside of regular business hours for all government entity events. A list of the City of Warner Robins qualified government buildings and courthouse that maintain this supply will be kept on file and included in this policy.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Mack, seconded by Councilman Bibb. Any discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 7 is a resolution for lifeguard retention incentive agreement to be discussed by Councilman Bibb.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I make a motion to approve the resolution of the Mayor and Council of the City of Warner Robins to authorize Mayor LaRonda W. Patrick to execute the Warner Robins Lifeguard Retention Incentive Agreement together with those qualified employees who meet specific requirements as outlined in the attached retention incentive agreement.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Motion by Councilman Bibb, seconded by Councilman Mack. Any discussion?
Madam Mayor, I would just like to thank Poozer for bringing this and making this happen. I think this is a great incentive to keeping our lifeguards. We appreciate you and the thought that went into this.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 8 is a resolution for right-of-way abandonment to be discussed by Councilman Holmes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I bring to you a motion to approve the resolution of the mayor and council of the city of Warner Robins, who determined that the described portion of this roadway has ceased to be used by the public, and to the extent that no substantial public purpose is served by it, and authorized LaRonda W. Patrick, Mayor, and Mandy Stella, City Clerk, to execute a quick claim deed releasing the city's interest in and to that portion of the roadway to be abandoned. Again, I move this to be adopted.
I'll second.
There's a motion by Councilman Holmes, seconded by Councilman Lashley. Any discussion?
I recuse from the vote.
All right, we have Councilman Curtis recusing. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye and raise your hand. Aye. Motion carries. All right, we have completed the numbered agenda items for tonight. The next portion will be for citizen comments. If you have any general comments to make, you may approach the podium. Please be sure to state your name and address for the record. You will have 3 minutes on the clock, which is countdown right at that rotunda. Please note that council and I are listening to you, though we may not respond.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Mike Hatcher. I'm the president of the Cobblestone Crossing HOA. We're a community that sits in the annexed portion of Peach County, and we're right on the Houston County and Peach County line at the Gun Road area. For lack of a better term, at this point in time, it feels like our HOA is under assault. Like the other areas that sit in the area of West Watson Boulevard, we're caught in the middle of what seems like some unbridled construction and expansion. And although there are other issues that are affecting our small community right now, these are the most pressing. We have construction going on to our immediate north and our immediate west. We have a utility company who's unneeded and unwanted, digging their way through our neighborhood without respect for property boundaries or utility right-of-ways. We have heavy equipment and other construction vehicles that are speeding through our neighborhood. As stated earlier, we're situated on the county line between Houston and Peach. However, because of where we are, our 911 calls are routed to Peach County, but we're immediately routed to Houston County. We're placed on hold. We're not given an option to tell them what's going on, but we're transferred to Houston County without regard to our safety or without regard to the urgent need. I hate it when this happens. Another issue is the fact that we've received zero attention at this point from law enforcement, meaning the Peach County Sheriff's Office, where we pay the bulk of our taxes, and the Warner Robins Police Department. According to a Warner Robins police officer that did respond to a call for assistance after nearly an hour of trying to get somebody from Peach and Houston to bring him out to our area, he informed us that he was unaware that our neighborhood was even the responsibility of the Warner Robins Police Department. After numerous calls to various departments in both Peach County and Warner Robins by several of our residents, myself included, I started to make some inquiries to see if I could find a solution to the issues. And I thank Mr. Drinkard and Mr. Lashley for the assistance they've given us. I've also contacted Mr. James Banter. He's the attorney for Peach County, with whom we have a meeting tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Mr. Drinkard has responded, and we're appreciative for the following. He provided me a POC for Cox, since their installers speak no English and they don't have any English-speaking supervisor on site. The POC that Mr. Drinkard provided to Mr. Kirby contacted me today and stated that he is on the business end of the company and not the residential, and that he could be of no help in this matter. He did, however, ask what the issue was. I explained it to him, and he promised to pass it to someone who can help us. We'll see how that goes. Regarding the 911 issues, our community is a retirement community, and the average age for our residents is north of 72 years old. We have in the past and will have in the future medical emergencies. Mr. Drinkard stated that he's working with the new Peach County manager and their commissioners to remedy this situation with 911 so that medical issues are routed to the nearest medical facility rather than asking Houston to dispatch someone from EMS from the Emory, which is about 9 miles away through traffic down Watson Boulevard. Additionally, Mr. Drinkard stated he's looking into a joint response facility to be located at the industrial park along Highway 41. Wow, that went quick. If you don't mind, a little indulgence would be nice. I'd appreciate it if you could. I'll finish up in about 40 seconds.
30 seconds granted.
30 seconds. Thank you so much, ma'am. And hopefully that will reduce the bickering between the two counties. And it is noteworthy to mention that whenever we call, that the Houston County Fire or the Warner Robins Fire Department is Johnny on the spot. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Also, Chief Fisher has briefed his folks that, they are responsible for our area, and if possible, we'd like to see some patrols between 0700 and 1900, which is when the construction vehicles are the heaviest out there. In conclusion, I'd like to thank Mr. Drinkard and the city departments for their attention to these issues, but as a reminder, we as a community will be vigilant to ensure that, that we get the services that we paid for from both city and county.
Thank you, Mr. Hatcher. Will there be any others?
Good evening. Thank you, Madam Mayor and City Council. My name is Kelly Atkinson. My address is 108 Nansalon Circle in Warner Robins, and I have a business at 107 Independence Drive, Suite D, Warner Robins. I am a licensed massage therapist with 20 years experience, or according to our city ordinance for massage therapy, I am a misogynist. I am asking that this verbiage be changed within our ordinances due to its disrespectful and offensive nature. The word misogynist is not found in any current dictionary. Thank you. Yeah, I agree. I laugh too. It's also been insulting. I have looked in Merriam-Webster, Oxford American, and American Heritage, and also an Oxford English Dictionary from 1904, and I've not yet been able to find the word. I've had a client of mine had Googled the word misogynist, and it's spelled M-A-S-S-A-G-I-N-S-T. Google at first brought up definitions for misogynist, M-I-S-O-G-Y-N-I-S-T. When continuing to search the term misogynist, the top results included a rap song with sexually explicit lyrics and a pornographic television episode of The Dirty Masseur entitled The Misogynist, spelled with a Y-N-I-S-T. Historically, massage, unfortunately, is an industry that is far too often sexualized by the general public. We really don't need our city ordinances to add to that. In light of current sex trafficking arrests in our area and the recent release of the Epstein files in which massage is used as a code word for sexual activity, I think we can agree that we do not need to continue to have a legitimate profession that is recognized by health practitioners for pain and stress management tainted by a word that many find questionable. The term misogynist also undermines our level of professionalism, education, and required state licensure. In the state of Georgia, a person performing massage must be licensed. Currently, the state licensure requires the completion of a 500 credit hour course that includes anatomy and physiology, universal safety precautions, ethics, and business classes in conjunction with several massage modalities. The state board is currently working to increase this requirement to a 625-hour program. In addition, the state board requires licensed massage therapists to complete 24 hours of continuing education every 2 years for license renewal. This is equal to the amount of, that is required for occupational therapists and only 6 less than what is required for registered nurses and physical therapists. So again, the licensed massage therapists in Warner Robins take our profession very seriously, and we ask that you support us in that by changing this word. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Atkinson. And that, ma'am, that code was from 1977, so we will be looking at that. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Good evening, George Catlett, 300 Lamplight Drive. I want to expand on something Mr. Hatcher said. We had Cox Cable come into our neighborhood and start digging. It seems that no one knows what the utility right-of-way is. Wouldn't the governing body who issued the permit know that? If I call and make a complaint and ask for a stop work order because they're not following the guidelines of the permit, you should be able to tell me what that is. So I don't understand how no one can know what that is. I went to Peach County Courthouse and looked. The plat that my house sits on says a 5-foot utility easement from the street. They're digging about 12 feet in there. So somebody needs to figure that out before they show back up and start digging again. The other issue I want to talk about is drainage. the city's been out there numerous times trying to resolve drainage issues. Who approved that drainage plan? Is there a civil engineer on city staff? I'm going out in the middle of a city street with a bucket and shoveling clay out of the street so it doesn't get tracked into my driveway. And then I'm going over to a concrete drainage ditch that was put in about 6 months ago and shoveling that out because it fills with sediment and then it doesn't drain water anymore. So we've got these two developments to the west and north of us, and I'm guessing that the property to the northwest of us will be developed at some point also. But we need a better drainage plan than what we've got. All of that property drains toward our neighborhood, and if you don't have a civil engineer come up with an overall plan, it's just going to be one problem after another. I'm probably one of the few people that'll stand here and tell you I like to pay taxes because I like what taxes pay for. I've lived in 17 states, the Philippines, and visited about 12 foreign countries. We have a good life here, and we have that good life because of taxes and governance. So I don't mind paying for things, but I don't want to pay for them twice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Keller.
Is this what you're talking about?
Yes, sir. Mayor, Councilwoman. My name's Phil Johnson. I stay at 104 States Way. Earlier, it's been a while. Maybe JJ can go ahead and maybe give you.
Sir, can you repeat your name, please?
Phil Johnson, 104 States Way. I've emailed everyone about the issues that's going on behind Hatcher Estates. Initially, it was approved to give us a 45-foot buffer from the residents' property back. Right now, they got a waterway that goes the entire length of the subdivision. It's right against the fence. So if anybody jumps the fence, they're gonna fall in the water. The thing that I don't understand is that they approved this buffer, but they're planning on putting the buffer behind the waterway. So I don't understand the logic behind that. I had talked to Mr. Curtis, Darren Curtis, and apparently, I guess there's a variance that I did not get, or I haven't seen it, that says that this can be done. My thing is, if it's going to continue going this way, I don't see nothing but problems with that being that long and being that close to the property. I don't know exactly why you would go ahead and approve one thing and we get something different at a later time. I don't know, but I'm just trying to prevent something that's going to happen later, not only to my property, but maybe other folks' property if we get some torrential rain or whatever. Even though the engineers said they got it, it's going to be okay, but there's no guarantee that that is what's going to happen. So my thing is if they're going to go ahead and do that, let's stick with what we started with, what we approved. And if you don't want to do that, I guess I have to go to the next level for EPD or wherever that takes us. So that's my issue. So, and I just want them to go ahead and try to correct it before it gets to a point, and then they say they can't do it. So then it's going to be a city issue. So if the city is going to be liable, and if something comes up, if they're going to go ahead and pay for my property if it gets damaged, I ain't got no problem with it. But that's the issue, that's the road that we're going down. And it's something that we need to correct right now, you know. So my thing is, if you give us the approval for one thing and it's something different at a later date, I just don't understand it. But I'm glad I talked to James. Maybe we can get a meeting. I'm more than happy to be on the board. If y'all have a meeting, I'm good.
Thank you,
Got
Mr.
all my
Johnson.
information. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, sir.
Sir. Johnny Johnson, Hatcher Estates, HOA President, 103 Hadlock Circle. I was here on February 17th, I believe it was, and I brought up some issues then. We are still having those issues. Mr. Johnson talked about a few things. A few neighbors, they put that drainage ditch in, and of course, neighbors' yards are flooding in the back because the property line is right at the hole. I don't understand why they did it that way, but I'm asking for some resolutions. I know I asked for help last meeting on the 17th. We got a serious problem out there. I tried to get hold of inspectors. I called them on their phone line. I emailed them. I haven't heard anything yet. Not to call anybody out, but where is our help at? I mean, residents are complaining daily. I have a 5-page email from a resident. She wanted to come to the meeting. She's sick, so she can't make it. I didn't bring the email, but I'm going to send it to everybody in here because it's kind of, I understand what she's saying because I went and looked at her yard. It rained the other day. Her yard was full of water, trust me. So they said they talked to the contractors out there, said we have inspectors helping us, but till this date, we still haven't received that help. And I know Mr. Johnson talked to Mr. Dreger here about a meeting. I recommend we do have a meeting with somebody because we got to get this fixed. It's just getting worse. And, oh, by the way, they are driving those heavy construction vehicles in our neighborhood, and they have a construction access, so I don't understand it. Now they have tore up curves, and they have damaged some streets in our neighborhood. So I'm just asking for help again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Would there be any others?
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Logan Hurlis, and I'm a co-owner of the golf pub here at 3035 Watson Boulevard, Warner Robins, Georgia. We're a veteran family-owned small business, and our family has proudly been a part of this community since 1994. I'm here today to respectfully request an amendment to the current municipal code or the creation of a new provision that better reflects businesses like ours. As it stands, Chapter 4, Section 4-4 prevents anyone under the age of 21 from entering an establishment that sells beer or wine unless 2/3 of the revenue comes from food and beverage sales. While that framework may work for traditional bars or restaurants, it unintentionally restricts businesses like ours that are built around recreation, not alcohol. The golf pub is an amusement-based business with over 80% of our revenue coming from the golf and entertainment and less than 20% from the beverage sales. Simply put, we are not a bar, yet we are being regulated as if we are one, and because of this, families are being turned away. Youth athletes can't train in our facility, students we want to support don't have access, and opportunities to partner with local schools and organizations are limited, not because of safety concerns, but because of how the code is currently written. We are trying to build something positive here in Warner Robins, a place where families can spend time together, a place where young golfers can practice and grow, and a place that keeps people engaged in a safe, structured environment. We've taken, oh goodness, lost my place. We've taken steps to support that vision and offering junior golf equipment, creating a game room for all ages, and we host many community events along with becoming a Unite program vendor for Robins Air Force Base. Allowing supervised access for those under 21 would not change who we are. It would allow us to fully operate as a community-focused business we were designed to be. This request is not about expanding alcohol access. It is about aligning the code with the reality of modern recreational businesses and supporting small businesses that are investing in this community. We are simply asking for the opportunity to serve families, support youth development, and continue growing in a way that benefits Warner Robins as a whole. Thank you, Madam Mayor and City Council members, for your time, your service, and your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Harness.
Sir, will you give that address again?
Yes, sir. It's 3035 Watson Boulevard. Actually, it's Suite 9 to be specific. Thank you.
Thank you. Does that conclude our citizen comments?
Hello, everyone. I am Gwendolyn Jackson. I live, 41 Cornwalker Drive, number 4305. So I have a concern about sex traffickers and reporting them. I've been a victim in the sense that I reported, something that I saw. They say, when you see something, say something. So I reported it anonymously to that report line, that 877, whatever that number is. Evidently, it wasn't anonymous because, when I did it online, right? So I don't know if they got my IP address or whatever. I'm sorry, it's emotional for me. But when I reported it, all of a sudden I started being stalked, still being stalked. My phone's hacked, computers hacked, people are following me, crazy stuff that you can't make it up. I mean, it sounds like something out of a movie, but these are powerful people, and they're making money on what they're doing. But my thing is, how do you get protection, when you're reporting these things and these people are so powerful? And I have called police because where I'm staying now, there's people walking up in the little attic space. They are listening to my conversations. The people that own that or manage that, I've mentioned it to them. They blow it off like it's not nothing on them, and it's almost like they're working with these people. So I guess my thing is, where's the protection? What do you do? When it says, see something, say something, here's the number if you see any sex trafficking, this and that, but you just don't have any help. You don't know what to do. You have to watch your back every time. How do you say it? Got to have your head on a swivel all the time because of these people out there. And I would just also say that, I've noticed a lot more activity, and I know that there are a lot of things going on in that neighborhood. 40 Cornwalker Drive and 41 Cornwalker Drive.
Thank you, Ms.
Okay.
Jackson.
Thank you.
And law enforcement is here if you need to make a complaint. That would be my recommendation. Thank you. All right. Well, that will conclude citizen comments. We are now moving on to council comments. All right, we're starting with Councilman Mack. You're up first.
Thank you, Mayor. Based upon citizens' comments, I just have one thing to say. It is my immediate suggestion that we do something to mitigate the concerns of the people that live next to that development on Russell Parkway and Lake Joy, because I remember specifically about the border of trees being planted prior to any other development, and based upon these pictures, they're doing workarounds and they're honoring what we suggested that they do. So until those issues are addressed or a meeting is set place, it will be my suggestion that there be a stop order and pause on the current development until those issues are met, if that is possible legally. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Bibb.
Mayor, I can't say that I don't kind of concur with Councilman Mack here. I think some of those agreements that we made to that land, especially the access to that road. We specifically said no access whatsoever, and if they're driving all their commercial vehicles down there, they're breaking that also. And from the pictures that were given to me too, we didn't agree on that either. We were also told that the buffer of trees were going to go against the property, not the ditch. And so I agree with Councilman Mack. I think we need to address this immediately for this particular situation. Other than that, there's a lot of great things going on, a lot of good things going on in the city of Warner Robins. Proud to keep pushing things forward. Great communities coming, and it's an awesome time to be a part of Warner Robins and what it's doing. So keep up the hard work. To all the city employees, you guys work so hard to make our city great, and I appreciate being alongside of you to help you do that. God bless and have a good night.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Lawrenson.
Hey, thank you, Mayor. Great night tonight. Two of the biggest things we looked at tonight were those rezoning petitions, and you look at one and you have to decide, does it go with what's already there? And the one that we approved obviously did. Not only that, I believe that it enhances the value of the area surrounding it. If you're currently selling at over $180 a square foot, those are $500,000 homes that they're going to be building in there. So I think that's an improvement. However, on the other situation, it's obvious that it's not exactly, it's not even close to what's surrounding it with the Rose Hill and the others. So I think we have to continue. It's not that we don't want to enhance growth in our city. We just want it to be in a way that protects the citizens that are consistently around it. So I hope we can continue to do that, and I concur with my fellow council members tonight. And that's all I have. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Lashley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can't emphasize any more what's already been said. So happy Easter to y'all, and we'll see y'all in 2 weeks. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Now it's time for Councilman Holmes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Adopt-A Box Phase 1 looks good. I'm very pleased with that. The trees on Russell Parkway, I'm pleased with that. I asked that that fence be taken down some time ago, and it took a while. I'm glad for the resolution. I just hate that it took as long to get the fence down. I have nothing else to say.
Thank you. Councilman Curtis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I am in total agreement with my fellow council member when it comes to Hatcher Estates. I just want to say I hope everybody had a great Holy Week. Happy anniversary to my wife. Happy birthday to my father. It is springtime, so that weather is coming. So everybody be safe, be ready. Weather radios are great. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Okay, so that concludes council comments. For me, I don't have much to share, but I do want to share. I know a group of individuals who were here about item number 4, left, right, after the vote, but if they are listening or if someone who knows them listens, please pass this message on to them for us. We have to treat motions and their purpose in the same way. Someone coming to do a rezoning petition, they're asking for rezoning. If council is comfortable with the development and the descriptions we've received, we do not require them to show us a plan. There are certain developments that are described a certain way, like a PD, which one is it? PDE. A PDE that will require approval for every step of the way. The particular one at issue is not that, but we have seen the projects that are inside of this development. This being an additional phase does not ruffle the feathers of council or me, so we feel comfortable with allowing the law to stay as is and have them, give them the ability to develop their property in that area. The recommendations that were received by the individuals who did take the podium, we were listening to those. We always like to hear ideas, though we cannot guarantee that the developer who hears these ideas will actually implement. If there is something that our engineering team and our overall team would recommend for the project, those things will be communicated with the developer accordingly. So even though some may be unhappy with the vote that took place, I need you to hear and understand our position as policymakers and what we are supposed to do when it comes to these type of developments. When it comes to, I had another point. When it comes to easements, utility easements, that was a really great call out by the individual who spoke. The development where this issue is taking place, the actual developer is responsible for certain things with that. And when it comes to looking to see where those easements lie, we will do our job on our end to see if we see an easement. That's all we can provide, but there should be a way for residents to make a report or a complaint about someone digging outside of a granted easement. I encourage you to check into that. If it's going to take some sort of a civil action, you would need to look into that as well. But just know you taking note and looking at it is a good thing, even though we, the city, may not be we may not be able to resolve this one for you, but we can direct you in a certain place. But we will look into it. If there is something that we can do, then we will do. But we can also encourage you and give you the information you need for your own success in your property that you own, and the city doesn't own it. So if the city doesn't own it, it does prevent us from certain things because the property owner has to do certain things. Anything within our power we will do and we will assist with. And with that, happy April to everyone. Our next council meeting will be in 2 weeks. We will see you here, same place, same time, and have a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you.